Good afternoon. The Beaufort County Board of Voters Registration and Elections is now called to order. The time is 1:31 p.m. on Wednesday, March 27th. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. I
pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You may be seated. Okay, we are now at public comments. If there is anyone for public comments, please stand, give your name, and please limit your comments to 5 minutes. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Amy Perkins. I am your new South Carolina Election Commission Area Representative.
What was the name again, please?
Amy Perkins. I just wanted to stop by and meet all of you and let you know that should you need anything, just give me a call or an email. And Marie and Wendell have all of my contact information.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right, anyone else? I don't see anyone else. We will move on with our minutes from the previous meeting, February 29th, 2024. We had our canvas hearing, and also on that same day, we also had board meeting. Can I get a motion to accept those minutes?
Motion to accept.
Okay.
Second.
It's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted for the canvas hearing and also the board meeting on February 29th. Now we are at our committee reports. First on the agenda is the ad hoc committee, Matthew Sweeney.
Madam
sorry.
Chairperson,
Yeah.
motion was made and
Oh,
seconded.
yeah.
Did we vote?
Oh, I'm sorry, I'm moving too fast. Okay, it's been properly moved and second that the minutes be accepted. All in favor, by sign of aye. Any opposed? All right, motion carries. Thank you. Now we will have committee report. Ad hoc committee, Matthew Sweeney.
Okay, the ad hoc committee at the moment is focusing on recruitment efforts, and ad hoc committee members are preparing their lists of organizations that could help us in recruiting coworkers with detail enough to do targeting recruitment. We've been in touch with a couple of targeted places, for example, the brand manager at Hague Point, who has agreed to help us. We've been in touch with IMC Resort Services, which is a property management company. They manage over 60 properties on Hilton Head Island. Most of them are outside the gates. They've got 25 in the Bluffton area and 2 in Okatee, and they are talking with us about possibly recruiting among their residents. We have all 4 chambers of commerce in Beaufort County that have agreed to help us. And that's really about it for the ad hoc committee.
All right, anyone have any questions or suggestions? None? Okay. Well, we'll move to facilities. Mr. Herbert Ford isn't here. Does anyone on that committee attend the meeting and wish to comment? Okay.
Mr. Ford did not have a quorum at his meeting, but there was a lot of discussions that took place, and I think he sent out a written report, and you will have, okay, you have that in your packages, so you can just make reference to that, and at the next committee meeting or board meeting, any questions or comments you have, you can express that to Mr. Ford.
Okay. All right, thank you, Ms. Marie. Finance Committee, James Backer.
On March 11th, Marie and Wendell presented the proposed budget for fiscal year '25 to county administration. I also attended that meeting. I think the presentation was well received. We made a little bit of tweaks in there to add the $100 that the county council approved for poll workers into our budget for the year for 2025. So I think we've got things covered pretty well, at least in terms of budget coverage. Marie, I don't know if you've gotten any additional feedback since that meeting about the budget at this point.
Nothing official, did we, about the $25? Okay.
$25 that state that Alex said that, we're going to add to poll workers, we've got to absorb from that 100. So, we kind of figured out what was going to happen. So it didn't change anything, but,
It didn't add anything
it didn't add
either.
anything. Yeah.
Right.
You know what we're talking about? It's being proposed that the South Carolina Election Commission is requesting that counties pay an additional $25 towards poll workers' salary. But of course, it's not coming from the State Election Commission. It was being recommended, but it was going to be a county unfunded mandate. So that was brought to the administration attention, and they pretty much said after we went through the budget review that would be incorporated. It's not going to be in addition to. So it would not be $125, but it would still just be the $100.
And just as a point, I think everyone's aware of it, but on that same day, March 11th, County Council formally approved the $100 additional supplemental pay for poll workers.
Just for June 11.
Just for that, yeah, they approved it for that meeting, and then for that June election as additional budget coverage that they need to cover for this year. And they certainly endorsed and recommended, which it was done, that we incorporate into our budget for next fiscal year, which has been done. Mr. Sweeney pointed out that during that session, Councilperson Tabernick asked a question about county employees being able to work the polls, and I don't think the interim administrator heard or responded directly to that question. So I think it's something we need to move back to that group to see if that's something that they can actively work on. My question would be: do we start with Audra to get that question back to administration?
The question about whether or not county employees should serve as poll workers?
If they could serve as poll workers, receive a day of their county pay, but not receive poll worker pay.
Yeah, the county administrator was pushing back on that. He felt poll workers, county employees may serve as poll workers, but on their own time, not on the county's time.
He said that at the meeting.
In other words, they would have to take a leave of absence for that day, or a personal leave day.
And Marie, I do remember him saying that at the meeting that we were in, that he did not know how many employees would really want to actually do that, So in the meantime, since we have all of these different groups that are in the process of helping us to recruit, I believe and I feel that we will be successful, and if they decide that they want to do it on their own merit, if they're on vacation or something like that, the county employees, if they really want to, I think they should make that decision themselves without it coming from the board requesting or asking for them to do that. That is just my take on it, because when I was in banking, it was the same thing. And I would use my vacation time if I was on vacation, and I would give back. But the bank did not push that to to say to the employees, you do this and we will do that.
Okay, but to Jim's point, it did seem, I watched the video from that county council meeting, and it did seem that there was confusion about whether the ask was whether county employees could get both their county pay and poll worker pay. And that's when the administrator said that they could get the poll worker pay, but they'd have to do the work on their personal time. So to Jim's point, I think perhaps we should go through Audra, just give her kind of a written, very clear description of our question, just to close the loop on this.
No, because it's a fairly large pool of potential poll workers.
I think part of the issue is because currently they would be charged a personal day or a vacation day, whatever you want to call it. There's a reluctance to work the polls that day. But if they become aware that they would not be charged a personal day, I think that the response might be greater.
That's possible, and I'm not disagreeing, I'm not trying to make it negative. But when we look at the hours and the time that these workers come to work, are they willing to sacrifice getting up at 5 o'clock to be at a poll at 6 o'clock in the morning and staying until 8 or 9 o'clock at night? So they will be weighing all of that. That's a weighted question for them. And that's my reason why I'm saying that, we don't want to keep pushing on it, because we have to be thinking positive too. Would you want to do it? You have to put yourself in that position. Do you want to do that? And you will then come up with an answer. But it's left up to the administrator and Audra to brief them on it. And then if they decide that's what they want to do, then that's great. But I still feel like we should focus on getting all these different areas to help us to get workers, and that way we know we're going to be getting the amount of workers we need.
So I propose that we continue working the partnerships for recruitment that we've already talked about, but in addition to that, send a letter to Audra just clarifying the question, give Audra and administrator an opportunity to respond to that, and we won't push it any further beyond getting clarification of the
Okay.
response.
All right, okay. We don't need a vote for that. We'll just act on that and send them a letter for the clarification, and then after that, we can move on to something else.
That's all
Go
I
ahead, I'm
have
sorry,
to
that's all you
report.
have?
Yes.
Thank you so very much for your report. Legislative Affairs, Matt Sweeney.
I have no report.
Really? I thought you did, okay. Representing Beverly Dorr, she isn't here, I don't know. Let me see if I can look through and see if did anybody see anything from Beverly? Any reports from Beverly in there? Nothing, okay.
I did not, but I have a question, and maybe this was a facilities committee question. But Wendell, is there a freeze date for identifying new polling locations?
We have to have everything in place that we're going to use for June on the 5th.
On the
5th of
5th of April, so
Right.
that's the freeze date for identifying new polling locations
Right.
for June 11th.
Right.
Okay, great.
Wendell, have you
I
been
guess the
able to
reason for
do
that is
your
because they have to go and do
ADA
their
surveys
ADA
for
by
all
that
of the
time, and
proposed
that got to be
locations? I
done.
know I got a message from people at Coosa Point, like, why haven't we heard from
We're going there
them?
Thursday.
Okay,
Thursday morning.
okay, so it'll be on time.
Right.
Any other places that you're doing last minute?
The only ones right now, well, this is under your report, Ms. Marie? Yeah, it's under.
It's in,
yeah.
okay, well then let's not duplicate.
Okay.
Okay. Rules Committee, Elizabeth Johnson.
Okay, you should have received an email with a copy of the proposed draft of the amended operations manual. I know Chris sent that out, and you also have a hard copy here. This is the format it would be in, as in the hard copy you got. And I know that there are changes already that need to be made, so as an example, our vacant position is listed as vacant. As soon as we have a person, we'll have to make some changes to that. Additionally, the charters for the different committees, we need to speak with the committee chairs and ask them to do those, because the only one that has been done is the one for the Rules Committee, but then that provides a model for other ones to follow. Now, let me ask, have people had enough time to review this, that they feel comfortable voting on it today?
I have several questions about it.
Okay. Ask away.
Okay, so the first one is, and, based on my experience with contracts and other documents, you want to try to avoid putting information that doesn't age well or will require frequent updates, and also avoid putting information that's redundant with other readily available documents. So with that spirit in mind, the board contact list. My suggestion.
Could you give me a page number, please?
Yes, 21.
Okay.
So my suggestion here is that we make a reference to the live document where board members with their assigned precincts and contact information are listed, because that will change more frequently than this operations manual.
How does everyone else feel about that?
We as board members, we get lists a couple of times a year of the board member information, contact information, assigned precincts. And in fact, the assigned precincts may change from election to election.
And what I would tell you is that's true. However, I know in discussion with our committees, a lot of my members felt that it was nice to have like one location to have that information, so we don't have to dig through all the papers that we receive. I don't know. I mean, that is a valid point.
Chris pointed out, this would be in a binder,
Which makes it easy to change.
which makes it easy to switch it in and out.
So you're gonna get it, it's gonna be like this, and it's very easy just to change one page as things changes.
But if there's a one-page change, does the revision table need to be updated, and does the board need to vote to accept the change?
Every place that information is located would need to be changed, yes. And what it says is for every change that we have to vote on it. So, I mean, as an example, when Mr. Cooper is appointed by the governor, assuming that happens, then we will have to make a change.
So in that case, if there are multiple places that need to be updated, I suggest that we minimize it by not including it in this. We can include a reference to where people can find the list of board of directors, but not make another document that needs to be voted on once or twice a year with changes.
Where,
And I agree to that.
if we made a reference to it, where would that reference be?
It should be in the front. Let's see.
The page he's talking about is page 20 and 21 of the draft.
In this, yes.
Well, this is the document that we board members get a couple of times a year with updates. So this document could be referenced in the operations manual.
So it's referenced in the operation manual, but what would it say? Please refer to document 123 located at, where is it located?
For a current list of board of directors. I don't know. I don't know where this stands, other than being handed to us in board meetings. I don't know where it can be found.
Yes.
You know, we're gonna have pretty soon, board seats coming up for appointment at the end of this year.
Yeah.
There's
So
three of
here
them.
again, you will be doing a lot of updating and revising. I don't see anything wrong with the list that we get, because if it's going to cause us to have to vote on it
Every time.
every time, it's
What
gonna
was the
be
procedure-
consuming.
What was the procedure in the past?
We just get this list of board members.
No, but I mean as far as this document, because the first time I saw it was when I went to a committee meeting, and the document was originally adopted in 2014, and now Mrs. Dorr's coming in, but you two are the only people
I
who
wasn't here.
should have had a copy of the older version.
I didn't come onto the board till
The
2020.
operations manual.
I think maybe
Yeah.
we can just make reference to the website
Yeah.
where the
Because-
current list of
Okay,
the
then
board
we'll
members
change
would be.
that.
And or contact office staff.
Mm-hmm.
But I think, make reference to the website, and that will probably be sufficient
Yeah.
for the most recent.
I think the key to this is that it's clear exactly where that document can be found.
Yeah.
So we'd want a link, not just make a reference to the website, but the actual link. Okay,
Well, my hope is that that will not deter us from getting operations manual in every board member's hands. Because the more we work on it and tweak and keep changing, nothing is going to get done.
Well, being that that is a
Yeah,
change to the
so-
recommendation or with
Yeah.
the documents that's in front of you, maybe you can just go ahead and make a motion on making that change now.
I had a couple more comments, and then we could make a motion to accept contingent on these changes.
okay.
The second one is on the organization chart on page 30, and this is a similar comment.
Building the manual.
The organization chart is dynamic throughout the year and year to year, and I don't know that we need to update what is a generic organization chart every time a change is made. So, for
Okay.
example, this org chart shows that we have 4 election specialists. I don't know if that's true, but we really shouldn't be bound by four boxes on this org chart. So my recommendation is to make it more conceptual by just making a big box there that says election specialists.
With
So-
with a 4 in
Page-
the
Well,
box?
no need to put 4. Does it
Could you
really
make it
matter
have a
if it's
3?
3 or 5?
Okay.
We just know that there are election specialists that report to the office manager. And the same thing for election tech specialists. We may have 2 now, but we might not have 2 in 6 months. So just make a big box that says
I can
election
almost-
specialists.
I can almost promise you that's not going to change often,
Okay.
because all of that's budget-driven.
Yeah, so my suggestion is just to make this a conceptual organization chart instead of an actual specific one for this moment in time. That way, we don't have to update it every 6 months or year when there are changes in staffing.
Marie, when would have been the last time this would have needed to be changed because staffing changed? So this is not.
When you hired Gene. Well, yeah.
I mean, I'm
Amber.
trying to get a feel for how often this would need to be changed and whether it's an issue that,
It's hard to tell.
Not very often. Like I said, most of it is budget-driven, and if it is changed, it'll be recommended through the Budget Committee for a new position or a change or reclassification of a position, and that would change maybe the title and/or a new billet. I'm not sure, but it's not changed very often, I can promise you.
and there'd be a long lead time as well,
Yes.
so.
Well, I guess I have to ask the question, why is it important to show 4 separate boxes for election specialists?
Because that's showing you how many of what
Positions.
positions we have on board.
That's the current count of
Mhm,
full-time
That's the
employees?
current count.
And finance,
We have 11 staff in our office, including the
That's-
director, so
that's got one,
that's just showing
2,
the
3,
distribution
4,
of staff
5,
and their
6, 7,
roles.
8, 9, 10, 11. Okay.
And that was also why the committee decided to put that little asterisk at the bottom about the fact that we do have additional part-time employees on a temporary employees on a, as needed.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay, my next comment is minor, it's on page 31. And I believe the precinct reapportionment committee is called re-precincting committee,
So page 31?
page 31.
I think on this
Oh.
small copy, it's page 30.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Oh,
Yeah.
I'm looking at an old
yeah,
version.
yeah. It's on page 30.
Yeah, re-precincting committee.
What is it?
So we will change that to re-precincting committee.
Okay,
I had
is anything else?
one more comment. Page 18, it's old 18, so let's see what it's called. Page 17 in the small format paper.
17,
Reference document.
reference document, which one?
Yes, the first bullet under reference documents that talks about federal laws establishing voting, election rights, and requirements. I believe that our board does not reference these documents. I believe that we primarily reference South Carolina Code of Laws, which conforms with the federal law. So I would recommend that we take that bullet out because our board members are not reading, interpreting those federal law documents. We cannot resolve any conflicts between those federal laws and South Carolina state laws. So our focus is conforming
Page
with the state
17.
laws.
Page 17.
17.
So I don't think it's the intention of this document to be like a Wikipedia where we're referred to every document related to voting. I think it should be focused on our responsibility to comply with South Carolina laws. So my recommendation is delete that first bullet.
I must say that we do operate under federal laws as well.
Yes, South Carolina law conforms to the federal laws.
Well, that's true. I think this is just a generic reference that's being, and it's up to you all, of course, but it's just generic information where you can get more information on elections law on a federal basis. So, but that's up to you all.
I don't see the need. Why are you suggesting that that be removed?
Because we on our board operate to the South Carolina laws. I don't think any of us are referring to these laws and trying to evaluate the conflicts, if any conflicts, between the federal laws and the South Carolina laws. I don't think we want to represent that we as a board have read and chosen the federal law versus South Carolina law in the way we comply with elections.
But to reference a document merely states that if you need further clarity, you
Yes.
can seek
It's just
the
references.
reference documents.
My
I don't
concern
see
is-
anything wrong with that.
It's an implication that we as a board are referencing these and evaluating any conflicts between these laws and the procedures that we follow as a board.
It merely means that you can reference that if you so choose to do so, not that you must. That's just my opinion.
Madam Chair,
Yes.
Mr. Sweeney has made several suggestions for changes. If we're going to vote on this, we're going to have to decide as a board which changes to accept. Are we going to vote on each of these proposed changes individually and then
We would
vote?
need to because some of them is not necessarily need to be changed.
Well,
And-
that would be
okay.
the opinion of the board. I mean,
Yeah.
we'd have to vote on it. But, so should the procedure to be to vote on each of these
Yeah.
proposed changes individually? And then based on what that vote is, vote to accept the document as a whole?
Yes.
Am I correct?
Chris, you had something to say?
If I may, Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Chris.
I just wanted to point out that, remember, this is a military town, so the federal law is also for Uocava voters because they use that.
And that's there.
Once in a while, we do reference it. Just a reminder.
Yeah,
And
I read that on the bottom. I read that in there.
And I was just gonna say, that doesn't mean that you're required to reference the federal law. It's there if you
If
so
you need
choose
to.
to do so.
Okay. Anything else, Matt?
No, that's it for me.
Okay, so which one you want to start with first? Since I think you've had, what, 3 or 4?
We can start with this one, the reference documents.
Okay. All right, we're going to start with the reference documents. Okay. I need a motion, okay, to remove that, and it needs to be second, and we will vote on removing that.
I'll make a motion, so move, to remove the first bullet.
Okay? Is there anybody who want to second it?
I would second, but I'd like to possibly clarify, because the Unicava is a reasonable reference. And it's only one line in that bullet.
But it's in South
But it's
Carolina's
in-
law.
Okay.
So are you seconding
I
it?
will second.
Okay. Anybody else? Okay, all opposed?
This
Do we
is-
go aye first? Okay.
No, we're gonna oppose it because they're seconding it, so the majority will rule.
So if we oppose, we're voting to maintain this document as it's written,
We're gonna keep it as written, the
Okay.
reference document.
and that's
Oh, okay.
opposed. I just
They
want to be clear
opposing
about
it.
what we're voting.
All in favor first.
Okay.
Yeah, that's what-
All in favor of opposing this document?
No. All in
Is it
favor of
amending it?
removing the
To
first
remove the
bullet.
document,
Keep it.
Okay.
Remove the first bullet, yes.
to remove the first bullet, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Raise your hand, okay? Motion is carried to keep the document as stated for bullet one. Okay, so I'm gonna put keep. Okay, what's next?
Page 20, I believe, the list of, yes, 20. So I make a motion that under Appendix A, Board Contact List, there is a reference to the county's website where board members are listed, with a link.
Okay, all in favor?
Is the
Needs
second
to be
Yeah, okay,
seconded.
I'm sorry, all, can I get a second? Okay, it's been moved in second, all in favor to put the board contact list on the county website?
And a
Reference it.
Reference to it, yes.
And may I make
Aye.
one comment first? That list that we currently have, does it have the dates that our terms expire currently? Will we have to amend that list on the website?
I believe the website has the terms on it. This list of contact
Yeah.
information does not.
Not. So
Okay.
if we're going to amend, we're getting messy here, but if we're going to accept this, we need to make sure all of this information is going to be available at the reference web link
Okay.
that we put in. Does that make sense to everybody? Because during discussion, we said that instead of having the list, we would make reference to a website. We would include a hot link so people could go easily to get that information. And my point I'm trying to make is, at your suggestion, Mr. Sweeney, we added the time that everybody's terms expired, and I just want to make sure that wherever we send people to have that information.
Chris?
Sorry, one other clarification. Okay, for the website, I'm under the understanding you will not be putting your personal information, just name, precincts,
And
and
term.
Mhm.
Okay, wanted to make sure.
Yeah.
Right, that's a
Okay.
good point.
Yeah, thank
Okay, now can I get a motion?
you. Did we have a motion already on the floor?
Yeah, there was a
Who
motion
who
already.
seconded?
You did not.
I did.
Okay, okay, it's been properly moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
Do we
Aye.
need to amend it?
Yeah, we're gonna amend it,
So
and
that
we're
the
gonna just
website-
put, the website will have your name and,
Term
term
and
and
precincts.
precinct,
Okay.
okay?
Okay.
Okay, motion carried to do that. Okay, number 3,
The organization chart, Mr.
Organization
Sweeney.
chart, yeah, Appendix C, which is page 29, I think.
29,
So I make a motion that the lowest level functions are combined into single boxes, and the descriptions are plural. So it would be a box under office manager that says election specialists without a specific count. And a box under election tech manager that says election tech specialists, plural, with no specific count.
you hear the motion on the floor? All in favor? You say-
Second.
Okay, all opposed?
All in
You do the
favor?
All in
ayes first.
favor?
You do the ayes first.
Ayes first?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, all opposed? Okay,
I don't see the need.
okay, motion carried. We will keep the organizational chart as is. Okay, what's the last one?
No, the,
Uh, Last one's page 30, just changing precinct reapportionment to re-precincting committee.
Okay, that's an easy one,
Yes.
okay?
That's fine.
Okay,
Motion
we need a
for that.
motion to change from
he just-
precinct to re-precinting. Can I get a motion to make
I
the
so
change?
move.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, aye, motion carried. And we will change that to re-presenting. Okay. Beverly, do you have a report?
I don't.
Okay,
According to our description, we meet after a census. The
okay,
business of our committee is complete.
all right. Liz, is anything else?
Well, I
Do
think
you
we
have
have to
anything
vote
else?
to
I know, yeah,
accept
that's
the
what I'm asking,
operations
yeah.
manual.
I'm asking Liz if she have anything else first, so.
As I said, we will be making changes, and I just want everyone to be aware of that. And I don't know, can we include in this motion the changes that we know are coming with new board member? Or do we have to revote that?
We have to wait.
We have to revote.
So in
Yeah.
that case, no, nothing else?
Okay, okay. All
The
right,
good thing is they won't be listed here. They'll be on the website.
You're correct.
So,
Oh.
motion to accept as edited?
yeah, with the changes.
We'll change.
Okay, I need a motion to accept the operations manual with the changes that we voted on.
So made.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, motion carried. Liz, thank you very much. Welcome, James. How are you?
It's good to be here. I didn't think I was gonna ever get here.
Okay,
I moved that we get a helicopter to take
I know.
the Hilton Head people, the traffic's so bad.
I will second that.
Okay.
Good.
And I-
Any discussion?
Yeah.
Is that in the budget, Marie? Oh, shucks. Oh, budget
We're trying to
problem.
get one for the Fuskies, but we just can't get past.
All right, new business? Do we have a new business? New business, new business? Wendell? Oops. How was your drive?
Well, your point?
Okay, director's report?
Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. You should have a copy of the director's report in front of you, and we will go over that real briefly. And we're going to start with the legislative updates. There are two pieces of legislation that affects us. One of them affects us personally, which is House Bill 5079. And this is related to a parcel of property located between the Belfair and Rose Hill community, moving the line a little bit, being tweaked, because there are some Belfair residents that actually live in Belfair, but during the redistricting process, the lines were moved too far over to one side, and it drew them out of their Belfair precinct. So a bill had to be introduced to move the lines a little bit further over, and once that's been approved and accepted by and signed by the governor, then those folks who were affected by the lines being in the wrong side of the road will be back in their Belfair precinct. So that's going through right now. Hopefully, that will be done before June. And the next piece of legislation is House 4590. Those of you who were at the SCARE conference, there was a healthy debate about this bill to the legislative panel that was there. This bill is talking about, to sum it up, is changing the early voting hours from 8:30 to 6 o'clock for all, well, there are two sets of changes, really. For general elections, from 8:30 to 6 o'clock, changing those hours from 8:30 to 7 o'clock. And for all other elections, for municipal, special elections, changing the hours from 8:30 to 7 o'clock as well. So early voting will be, is being considered now to be consistent with Election Day voting. And of course, there was a lot of concerns about this bill, the financial impact, the mental impact, the physical impact on poll workers, as everything else. But legislators don't typically look at all the effects. They usually look at the fiscal impact. And this will have an adverse effect on all of our counties, and Beaufort County, of course, is included, because of the number of hours. Once a poll worker go over 40 hours, they will be required to be paid overtime. And so it's going to impact us financially. So that's out there right now. I'm not sure exactly where it is in the scheme of things. I think it was sent to the Senate, and I think it's in some committee, but I can tell you right now, it's not making the election administration any easier for those involved. But it is what it is. If it's passed, of course, we will have to comply.
Ms. Marie, can I ask a question?
Yes.
Would they consider, since we have these language hours, having part-time for early voting? Because you're
We
saying
already do
about-
that.
Huh?
Yeah, our early voting poll workers, we only have a few, I think, that work part-time, but that's what keeps us afloat. We work with folks and their floating schedules, so we do have people who may work several hours a day and go home. So we've been doing that from the time we had the early voting centers opened. So, and it works fine, because we pay them on an hourly basis.
Right,
We don't
okay.
pay them on a flat rate basis, so.
Okay.
The next will be, we're gonna do some, do you have any questions about anything legislatively? Okay. The next would be election update. You should have in your package as well, a copy of our proposed briefing schedule. As you know, we are trying to limit the number of people attending any one session. So, and of course, that depends on the location we will be having the briefing. So once we send this out to our poll workers, people will be signing up to participate in these briefings. And it's now being required, and Amy can back me up, by the state, that all briefings be done in person. And I don't even know if there's any exceptions to that. Emergency purposes, okay? And briefings should be conducted by staff. So again, only in emergency situation should board members be conducting training.
May I ask a question on that?
Yes,
What
ma'am.
is considered
Thank you.
an emergency? Because I might look and say, you know what? My emergency is that I got stuck in traffic. I didn't have a helicopter to get me to Beaufort.
Well, I tell you, I would say
mean,
that
what
I
do they
think we
look
will
at
have
as
to
an
weigh that.
emergency?
We would have to weigh that on an individual basis, because we do have emergencies that come up where folks cannot attend any of the scheduled briefings.
Okay.
And we try to have a session at least the day before the election where folks can attend. It may not be convenient for some people, but we try to do that because we know emergencies do come up, family situations. So we try to be flexible. And if we cannot accommodate a person, we hope that we will have enough folks trained that can fill in for those people who cannot be trained. Okay. Also, you will have in your package is the. I'm
Marie,
sorry.
I had a question here. Is there poll clerk training included in this mandatory briefing schedule? Clerk-specific training?
Okay, we're doing hybrid right now unless the state come up with additional monies for poll workers training, for clerks training. What we did in the last session, in the last set of training that worked well, was we had a hybrid session where all the regular poll workers did the training, and immediately after, we had a 1-hour session to train the clerks. And they had a hands-on experience and all of that in that 1-hour session. But we did a summary or a briefing of what's required, and then we went into detail in the second portion of the training. So yes, it will be for clerks.
Okay, on that topic, I understand the State Election Commission is working on what they call a state certified poll clerk program. Is that something that will be rolled out this year? Do you know anything about that?
I don't know.
No? Okay,
But when we find out, we will make sure you know.
thank you.
I have a question about, for the multi-precinct locations. Is there anything specific that you're doing to better quantify the responsibilities of the lead clerk and what the lead clerk should be delegating to the other poll clerks? Is that kind of covered in this hybrid session of, the lead clerk versus the other?
Yes. I know that there have been some concerns about what role the lead clerk is playing. But yes, we will incorporate that. We will reiterate that in our trainings to make sure everyone know what their responsibilities are. And of course, we operate on the team concept. So when you start identifying a role specifically, you kind of set yourself up for no help from anybody else. So we even though we identify that as a lead clerk, we encourage everyone to assist the clerk in accomplishing the task during the day. So again, we will make sure everyone understand that during the training sessions. And, the lead clerk is a position that we developed in our county because of the dual precincts. Now, eventually, if we do what we are supposed to do, all of that will go away if we try to find polling locations for every precinct, which is almost impossible, but I'm not saying that it's not going to happen eventually.
No, understood, but I guess more of my point there was to make it clear to the lead clerk that they should designate and delegate some things so that everybody is participating in the activity.
I was under the impression they were doing that, but if not, we will reiterate it.
Let's reiterate it all the time.
I'm making a comment from my personal observation.
Oh, okay.
Okay, yeah. And you, as a board member, you know that. So even though maybe someone doesn't take it on like they should, when you're out in the field, you remind them what their responsibilities are, and you can help them make a decision on that if you
And
do.
that's kind of what happens. I think it's more of a potential issue where you have less experienced clerks in general, and that less experienced clerk is bumped up to lead clerk.
Okay. Notes taken. Thank you. Okay, also, our new poll workers training is in full swing. Next week, we will be having our second session for this go-round. The March class has already taken place. We had 22 people trained. April class is already full. We have, how many people we have? 30? 25? We have about 30 people in each of those sessions in April and May. In June, we have 2 slots left. In August, we have 12 slots left. So I know we are trying to get as many people on board as we can for the June election. So please, we still have, we don't have anything really left, but give us a call if you know of someone who can work the June election, and we will see. Gina is starting a waiting list, and if we get enough people for that waiting list, we will try to implement a new class. But if we only have 5 people, I don't think that's going to be justified to set up a class for 5 people. Am I right?
Marie,
Okay, thank you. All right, so
Marie, what would be the minimum number of people to justify a class?
what do you think? 10,
I mean,
12?
5 is not enough, is 12
About
enough?
12 people, maybe?
12 about?
Yes.
Okay.
Now, just take in mind, if you schedule a class for 12 people, probably 3 or 4 of them not going to show up.
Oh,
Can we
I
just,
understand.
Okay.
would it be feasible to have just a few people on a standby or on a waiting list? Since at the last, training, 7 did not show, would that be feasible to get on a waiting
Yeah,
list?
those 7 people, I didn't know anything about, but sometimes what happens is I have a coworker that wants to, they say, sign up for the July class, but they're like, if there's an opening earlier, let me know. So I had a couple of drops prior to this class, so I called them and said, hey, I had a drop, do you wanna come on Saturday? And they did. So
Okay.
that's kinda how I work it.
Okay,
If they tell me I really would like to take April, so if something opens up, then I will. I just added 2 more to that one this morning for that reason.
thank you.
All right. We have also scheduled some community forums. I don't know if I need to go through this because I think we've talked about this before. Our goal is to be out in our community, sharing information about the election processes and what's coming up. So if you notice, all of our community forums are before the June election, just to try and educate the voters on what to expect when they go to the polls in June. And we have some brochures that we've printed out and been sharing with folks about what's going to be on the ballot. Of course, any referendums and/or constitutional questions, we will not know that. We do not know that right now, but we'll probably know that sometime in August. And again, we will try to get information out to the folks as soon as we know what they are. We initially scheduled 5, and we got a call from the city saying, well, what about us? So we do have a tentative slot available for them. We just do not have the date yet. We know it's going to be at City Hall. We just don't know exactly the date.
Question. Is there
Yes,
a flyer? I know once, I think last year, I came across a real attractive flyer. Would there be flyers so that we can kind of share with community members?
Yes, we will.
regarding the dates
We
of
will have
these?
flyers out about our different community forums. It'll be on our website. We are advertising it through the county website as well. So,
No flyers?
huh?
You said no flyers?
I said we will have flyers.
Okay, good.
Okay.
If I could get some, I would
Okay.
be most appreciative.
No problem. And facilities, I think someone was asking a question about the facilities. We have a list of those that we have already assessed. And they all met our ADA requirements, except, well, the ones that we did not meet on yet, being proposed, which is Parkside amenity. And I'm not sure where we are with Parkside amenity, Mr. Backer, whether or not they have just pretty much said no.
No, they haven't said outright no, it's just discussion that still needs to be
Okay.
expanded with them.
The Sea Pine Beach Club is on hold right now, but Mr. Sweeney will let us know if that's going to be a possible polling location.
And then Wendell said that Cusel Point, which is not on the list, you're going in Thursday. Is that tomorrow Thursday or a week?
Yeah, tomorrow,
Okay, what time?
9 o'clock.
Okay.
That's on the next page, Wendell. Cusel Point River Club.
Oh, okay, I didn't see that.
So we will be assessing that on tomorrow. And we were having some real nice experience visiting these facilities. The folks are just really gracious, and they make us feel welcome, and they are trying their best to accommodate us for elections, and I think that's a good thing, because there are folks in our community that are willing to help provide a location and try to accommodate our needs so far as chairs, tables, security, to open and close the facilities and things like that. So, board members, when you get an opportunity out there in your community and you were the initial contact, please don't forget to thank our folks that are helping us in the election process. Okay,
It
yes.
says Unitarian Church. Which Unitarian Church? Is that the one on Sam's Point Road on Ladies Island?
No, this is in Bluffton.
Bluffton,
Okay.
on Malthus Road.
Their name is so long, I didn't know.
Yeah.
I just put Unitarian, that's
Okay.
my
Well, I
abbreviation,
just
but it's in
wondered which one on
Bluffton.
Ladies Island as well.
Yeah, this one is in Bluffton.
Okay.
Malthus Road.
Okay, I think the last slide for facility is about our main office. The construction is semi-completed. We have received permission that we can occupy the room. And there is a small process that needs to take place, which is putting plywood on the outside of the wall and painting it. And once that's done, it will be finished, but we can utilize it now in its state, in its present state. Okay, staff and board members are scheduled. I don't know if board members are scheduled, but I know staff are scheduled to go up to the primary workshop. We are limited to 4 people. Well, I think we were limited to 2, but we always push it to 4. Yes.
Just a comment on the schedule here for the year. For the primary workshop, Christine, I would like to attend, but April 15th is a Monday, not a Wednesday.
Okay, yeah, it is a Monday. It is a Monday. So if that's an error, we'll correct that. But what I need you to know is, and Ms. Eileen, I guess this will be up to you, who will attend. We can't have a quorum of the board there, so only 4 members can attend.
What full wants to attend, other than me?
I think you
I've
and I
already
are the two
I've
signed
already
up.
registered.
You and I are the two that are registered.
Did you
right
register
now.
too?
No, I didn't register.
So we got 2 people already.
I'll go.
I'll go. Well, we've got more than 4 there.
Don't sit together.
Okay,
No,
Mr.
so-
Backer, you said you wanted to go?
Yes.
Since you mentioned it. Okay, this is Jim Backer. And Don and I have already registered.
I was
Okay,
interested,
and
but I'll defer to Beverly.
you yield to Beverly?
I will.
Okay. Okay,
I'd like to be on the wait list behind Liz.
okay. You'll be in the waiting room.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So those are the four names.
Would you get those names to Christina so she
Yeah.
can make accommodations? Thank you. And candidate filing is underway. I'm not going to go through that. I provided you with a list of candidates who have filed at our office so far as of yesterday, as a matter of fact. So those are the candidates that's filed. Of course, you can find this information on the SC Votes website. Just go to the candidate tab and candidate tracking, and you can keep up with who all's filed on a daily basis if you like. All right, on miscellaneous updates, we will be talking about the SCARE conference. Those of you who attended, it was an experience. And for those of you who attended for the first time, I'm hoping that you got enough information out of that educational session or the educational sessions that were provided to us. I saw a lot of you participating and taking notes, so that means that you were absorbing information, and I think everything went well. We did have an incident that kind of shook us a little bit. There was a fire, and but we got through it. We got through it, and
Didn't burn up.
we got through it. But it did not take away from the actual sharing of information. I'm not sure how many board members were there on Friday when we had the legislative panel there. There were lots of.
Marie, are the presentation materials available from SCARE?
Did y'all send it out yet? The Howie did. Okay. The one that was presented by the State Election Commission, I think it's available. We will get that to you.
Thank you.
Okay. But the legislative session itself it's always good to me because we get to hear from our legislators. Again, we didn't have any Beaufort legislators there, but that's okay. We did have other legislators from across the state there, and they took an interest in what was being said. And it was, like I said, a healthy discussion back and forth as to what is expected, what would be nice to see in the future so far as election laws are concerned. And like I said, the legislators always open our eyes as to why things happen the way they do. It doesn't always mean that we agree, but we understand the process itself. The budget process, Mr. Backer reported in his report. We have already gone through the preliminary review with administration. And I think that went well. Of course, we don't know the end results yet, but initially it went well.
Skipped over a slide, Ms. Marie.
I did? Which one?
The one that says you received.
Oh, the
gold
awards.
award.
Oh, why did I do that? That's important.
Yes.
I'll talk this one, please, I'll do it the right way. This, Marie, was put in for the Moore Award, by her staff. Anyway, the Moore Award is tantamount to a Lifetime Achievement Award in that profession. And, ever since its inception, it's been started by the lady who helped create SCARE, Eddie Moore. And, over the years, we look like it's a very august group of people who have won the award. And, Wanda didn't tell me, but I'm sure this was a hands-down situation. When her packet went up, I was calling Wanda to let her know. I said, okay, I get ready to send the packet, and I got 19 letters from the records over the country. She said, 19? I said, yeah, I didn't know. I thought maybe it was a normal thing. She said, you never had anything like 19 letters. She said, maybe 4 or 5. 19? I said, yeah. So, she won, Wanda Emple up at the state, for voter services. So, we are very happy, excited, and I think it's just evident of the kind of work that she has done over the years and here in Beaufort County, continuing to put Beaufort County on the map as far as the kind of excellence we have down here. But she did win that award. It's the highest award that that organization gives, and it's representative of the whole state. So congratulations to Art.
Yeah, congratulations, Marie.
Kudos. Hey.
Madam Chair,
Go ahead, Bev.
I'm a very
I just
modest
wanted to
person.
mention that I was there to witness Marie receiving the award, and I was very, very proud because I know firsthand how hard she has worked throughout the years to make this not just an excellent, exemplary effort for voters in this county, but all over the state. She is recognized and applauded. So I had my chest stuck out, and I was there along with Madam Chair to witness the applause and the kudos that she received from her colleagues. And I think that we should all be proud of Marie.
And Beverly made sure that she went right in front of me so I couldn't get my picture taken either.
I was trying to take pictures to preserve history.
Yes, I
Okay.
appreciate all
All
the accolades and the kind words that I received from you all as well, and I appreciate that. I was kind of shocked because, that could have gone to almost any election official in the state, and I'm honored and I'm humbled, and I say that a lot because I am humbled by the fact that I was recognized by my peers in the state. So I appreciate all of your congratulatory remarks. Thank you very much. And like I said, it could have happened to anyone, so I appreciate it. And County Council also did a recognition on Monday night as well, so that kind of solidified my home folks,
Yes, I'm sorry.
On YouTube, for acceptance, not the whole meeting, just the acceptance part.
It's on YouTube? You say
I
it's on
didn't hear
YouTube?
you.
They presented it
Yes.
during congratulatory.
Oh,
Apparently, broadcasting did just a small clip also of just that section too. They don't have to hold it unless you want to.
I have
She
some
said-
pictures too.
You do? Okay.
Okay, thank
I
you.
managed to get into one of the pictures.
And there was also an article in the Island News about it as well. So, and it went viral. The window made sure it went viral. I couldn't pull it back. I couldn't take it back once it was gone. So, but let's move on. We started talking about the classification compensation plan at our last board meeting, and right after that, we got more information about it. So that process is underway by the county. This is done by consultants. They come in, evaluate our positions and our job title, and it's our job and our salaries are compared to other jobs within the county, other jobs within the state, and some private sector jobs as well. And hopefully this will help identify any discrepancies we may have in our salaries and brings our salaries up to, I won't say par, but up to where it needs to be in comparison to other positions in our professions. And that's not just our office, but the whole county. Right? On the budget for our additional equipment, due to our 31 new precinct, I talked with, I think Mr. Backer did as well, to Howie when we were up at the SCARE conference. And he pretty much told us that the money has been placed in his budget. And I had the pleasure of talking to Senator Davis as well And he assured us that it went through whatever Senate committee it needed to go through, and he didn't seem to think that there would be a problem in approving the funds for the additional equipment. So even though it's not a absolute done deal, it was favorably received by the Senate committee that's going to approve the SEC's budget. So hopefully we will have all of that taken care of. Unfortunately, I can't tell you how quickly we will be able to receive those equipment in. So as soon as they're ready, I'm sure if it's approved, the money's approved, is a purchase, I think they do purchase orders and things, the requisitions or whatever, we will be getting those equipment. Thank you. Is there anything else?
Anybody
No,
have
that's
any
it.
questions?
Any questions?
No questions? Wow, okay, what time it is? 2:40. Okay, closing comments. First of all, I would like to thank the board for all that they have done. And I also would like to thank, a special thanks to Elizabeth Johnson for taking on this operations manual. And so far, we are at a point where I believe that we will all have a manual in our hands. And I thank you, and the board thank you. And next, what can I say about Matt Sweeney? He's been kicking up a lot of dust on Hilton Head, getting all these places. He's outdone me. I don't have a one on my list. So I know that you've been working. I can see it, not just by hearsay, but to see that most of these places that you have been out recruiting, we have already have the ADA requirements. And my prayer is that when we get ready to start utilizing these facilities, we won't have any hiccups of last-minute movements, because I know it happened in Bluffton at the Rotary Club, and also in Beaufort, when these entities have their members paying dues, and if they say we need to use this facility, if it's a week at the last minute, it's override, and I think what we'll have to do is try to make sure we stay on top of it, even though they know. And from some of the things that I've heard out there, and I was told by the town of Bluffton that they did not know that we were having a Saturday election, so they had already taken a deposit. So you see, these are things that happen when we are not using government facilities. They had already taken the deposit. But staff was able enough to get signs posted, and I went out there myself to check and see, so we could make sure that those voters knew that they needed to go elsewhere to vote. And I don't think that will happen all the time. It just happened because of the presidential preference primary was that Saturday, because normally we do not have elections on a Saturday. So hopefully with all that you have done to get all these great places, we will do well in those areas. So I thank you for that also. And I think all of the board members who are out there working to get places, get polling places, and also to recruit poll workers. My thing is that, we need to make sure that we are visiting our polling locations. We are visiting our polling locations, and if we see that a lead clerk or a clerk is not doing his or her job, we talk to them to the side and let them know or remind them, even if they're new, just to remind them of what their responsibilities are. And because we're going to have new people working, and we'll just have to guide them as board members. And as long as we know what needs to be done, then we can tell them how to navigate through that process. Okay, ethics forms. First of all, does anybody else have any comments before I move on? Because I know we have a workshop coming up as soon as we adjourn. Ethics forms are due March the 30th, so please make sure you've already had your ethics form filed, because if not, you'll get a letter and a fine, okay? So I know you don't want that to happen. Our next board meeting is scheduled for April 24th, 2 p.m., so we'll be back at our normal schedule. So I'm quite sure it'll get updated on the county website to change it from that 1:30, so everyone will know that we're back to basics. All right, can I get a motion to adjourn so we can go into our workshop?
I so move.
Okay, is second?
Second?
All right, it's been moved and second that our board meeting has now adjourned at 2:47 p.m. on Wednesday. Thank you. All right, I'm gonna turn my mic on.